Thanks for watching this. I wanted to tell you this is a little time sensitive.
Greetings, dear ones. I'm Kryon of Magnetic Service. I'm aware of where I am and those who are in the room. Dear ones, I'd like to bring you a message that is similar but different from others that I've given before about some basic truths and perhaps even some deceptions of the old energy. All of you come from this planet, from the civilization of the time. Every single one of you has experienced what your parents have told you, what others have told you, and you've received instructions. But more than that, you've received concepts and sometimes habits. I want to tell you again that everything I speak of now is moving from the darkness to the light, to resetting and reframing that which is you. Some of the things that I talk about are knee-jerk reactions that are intuitive to what you do because you've always done it. And I'm going to tell you, perhaps, it's a pitfall. And the solution to getting around it, not that difficult, if you wish. I gave you a channel not too long ago about some deceptions, of some things that you learned a certain way and now they're different. I'll continue. But these are more personal. These are not necessarily for the planet, they are for you. They're for the ones listening now, for the ones in the room. And all of these are given with total compassion and honor for the struggle it takes going from one paradigm to another. I want to start with the honoring of the human being and all that you are. All of you listening now, this is an empowering message. They all are. I want to start with number one. What is your thought and your teaching on things which would seem to be competitive? Part of what you think is competitive, you call life. The right job, the right place, how you're seen, what happens if you don't do the right thing. This comes from the energy of teaching right from those you love. And now I'm going to give you a postulate, dear ones, whereas you might have seen a system of winning and losing, the new paradigm for your life is not that at all. Perhaps you've taught that for every winner there has to be a loser, and that would then emulate the systems of your politics. Winner takes all, every time. And you filter it down to your life and it would seem the same. Winner takes all. You either win it or you lose it. Now I want you to start reframing that, dear ones. And I want you to say this, and I want you to mean this. When you're in trouble, perhaps, and you think in these terms, I'll tell you something that no one ever said to you. There is enough for everyone. There is enough for everyone. There is enough love. There is enough abundance. There is enough food. In this civilization where you are with your abilities to manifest, for the wisdom that you have as an old soul, for what you've gone through, I speak to old souls now, there is enough for everyone. There is an old adage that says if one accelerates, the other one won't. It's something about the fact that there's somehow limited abundance or limited success or limited money. That is an old paradigm. It is a deception of an old energy. For you and your lives, it's not win and lose. It's win and win. This may be difficult for you to understand. I'm asking you to change the paradigm of your thought. In everyday life, when you see things, there's no winner and loser. There's enough for everyone. Sometimes there would be those who would tell you there's not enough for everyone, and that there would have to be some who would suffer if others had what they needed. This is an old paradigm. It has to do with linear things. It is not esoteric. It has nothing to do with the love of God, your experience. It has nothing to do with that which you are trying to do, which is accelerate into higher consciousness. All of you have that ability. There'll be no losers in this. There won't be some who accelerate and then rob energy so others can't. This is an old paradigm. That's number one. The reason we gave that is there are some here listening who still believe it and had to hear it. And the aha will be there. Really? Yes. When my partner started, he came into this bookstore. This was before Kryon. He came into this bookstore. And he looked around and he saw the plethora of books. All of the titles, all of the teachers, all of the channelers. And when we started to channel with him, one of the things that he said over and over is that there's already channeling. He says, there's no room for another book on their shelves. I've been there. Why should I then contribute to something that already is there, already exists? Why me? They have enough. And then he said the magic words that plague him to this day. He says, they're better than I am. Dear ones, this had to be reframed in his life. That there's enough for everyone. There's enough high consciousness. There's enough enlightenment. All of these things. You limit yourselves because you look around and you say, there isn't this, there isn't that, or therefore, all the things that are linear, all the things that you've been taught. Including, I'm too old. This will never happen for me. Someone had to hear that. That's old thinking. If you start to reframe this and know that there's enough for everyone, your body starts to understand it, cognize it, your consciousness will broadcast it, and your life starts to change. Let me give you the premise of Kryon, which is number 2. You're never alone. When my partner sat in the chair for the first time, it was frightening to him. Because what he felt was not anything that had words connected to it. He didn't hear anything. It was concepts that he felt immediately sitting in the chair after he had asked Spirit, if you're there, show me. Oh, that was so dangerous. It was dangerous because we showed him and his life changed. It was dangerous because he wasn't ready for the paradigm shift that took place. But what he felt made him weep. He realized that when he sat in the chair without saying anything, without realizing anything, he felt dozens around him who loved him, holding his hands. He could feel the light that was there. He didn't know what to do with it. And so he cried. It was overwhelming. It wasn't supposed to be there. For the first time, he realized that he was never alone, had never been alone in his life. And now he walks the planet knowing this, counts on it. It's given him peace. And so I say, what about you? What have you been told is there outside of you? I want you to drop all of that just for a moment and think again of what is there. The complexities of a multidimensional experience are exhaustive. It's too much to understand, to explain. And so we say the simplicity, you're never alone. And truly what we mean by that is that you can't be. You're designed to be with a group. Don't get linear. Don't name the group. Oh, how many? Where are they from? What's their name? The group is part of your soul. It has to be. If you are multidimensional, you are not part of just one thing. You're part of many things. The soul you think is one is many. It has to be. That is the attribute of being multidimensional. It's many yous, if that helps. In many dimensions, if that helps. The group may be you with you, but it's a group. Somehow it's together as one, and many ways it is apart as helpers. What if I told you that your guides were you? Would that diminish them to you? You're never alone. I want you to know that, because many of you feel you are. When you're done with this meeting or this recording, and you go to a place in your house, perhaps, and you want to feel alone, you can't. Go ahead, try it. We'll be there to disturb you. You cannot be alone. You can go into the woe is me. You can do all of the things. You can cry that nobody loves you, and the entourage will just stand around you until you come out of it. We're all there. We have gone through everything you've gone through, dear ones. Not just you with you, not the multidimensional parts of your soul, but the connection you have to Spirit, to God, to all the other souls. Can you imagine how many people are in that room alone with you? I invite you right now to cognize this, to feel it, to understand it. So the next time you might go into that depressive state, wondering why you are who you are, why don't you listen for the answer? When the group uplifts you and wants to light a match, like they do in some concerts, where through the audience you will see all the matches raised in song, I want you to see that, and you're standing in the middle of the arena and everyone is singing your name. That is reality. You are on this world on purpose, doing an amazing job, and it's difficult. And the support group knows it. And if you allow it, we'll light that match in an arena and sing your name. If for no other reason, to make you know and understand you're here on purpose and you're loved and known by name. You're never alone. Number 3 is a habit. The world is always getting worse. It never gets better. Did you notice? When you listen to television, it's always getting worse. No matter who is interviewed, it's always getting worse. What did your parents tell you? It's always getting worse. When you gather around and talk about the planet or the pieces and parts of your own society, you know, don't you? It's always getting worse. That means it's a downhill road, doesn't it? It means there's no hope, doesn't it? This is a habit. Somehow by saying those things, it enhances you in the old energy. Because others feel the same way. You have something to commiserate with, to. You can unite in that which is worsedom. Everything is always getting worse. If you pipe up and say, well, yeah, but I think this is getting better, Your friends will look at you and say, "You're wrong. What's wrong with you?" You may even create a distance between you and your friends because things are not always getting worse for you. And that is the point. The old energy and the new energy, sometimes they clash. They don't come together. Sometimes it will take this for those to leave the conversation or wish you weren't there because you're not striking the doom that they want. Don't you know better? After all, the world's always getting worse. It isn't, dear ones. In fact, what is going on this planet right now is a readjustment of light and dark, a reevaluation, a reframing of human consciousness that will take some time. In the process, we've discussed what the planet is going through, what the weather is going through, the preparation for a new consciousness, what it's going through. We've talked about the wild cards that have come in to stir things up for you. We've talked about many kinds of shocks to some who will say, "See, it's worse and worse," and at the same time you realize that these things, what they think are worse, is simply because they're changed from what they had. Changed from what they had. Sometimes change itself means that things are getting worse. What do you do? What can you do? Dear ones, all you can do is to drop the box that you were taught in, to understand and cognize the shift that is going on that was prophesied by the ancients is the most positive thing that has ever happened to humanity. You're part of it. You sit in it. You're the old soul who's going to experience it. So start to give it lip service. And if not to those friends who want to say it's getting worse, perhaps to your children, perhaps to others who will listen. If not, then perhaps to a tree. Celebrating the fact that this planet is going through readjustment that may be difficult or seem like it's getting worse, but it is not. Celebrating light that hasn't happened here before. When light occurs and it hasn't happened, people are afraid. Because it's different, because it has energy, because it makes things look different, and that creates fear. It's easy to say things are getting worse. Dear ones, they're not. Not anymore. In the old paradigm, maybe so, but not now. In fact, the turnaround is just beginning. That's the solution. But I still ask you, watch for the habit. And if you're with friends you love and they have the habit, just don't chime in. You can say to yourself, every time they say it's getting worse, you can say, "That's just what you think." In your mind, of course. When they start talking about the itemization of what makes it worse, you can say, "Well, that's just what you think." In your mind, of course. And in that way, you sit there and you don't participate with them, but you can still be with them. That was number 3. Number 4, perhaps, is the hardest. It's a habit, and that is you let other human beings define you and control your life every day. Every day. Not understanding that you have completely total free will, not to buy into what they say or fear the ramifications of what they say. They may do. It happens at home, it happens at work. It's society-wide. It has to do with not only the infrastructure, but who's in charge and who is not, whether it's at home or at work. And what someone says then affects you. Dear old soul, it's time to drop this completely and understand that no human being, no matter what they say, as they look in your eyes, can affect you. In the past, how many of you do you think got disease because of what others told you? Or what they put you through on a regular basis? And you died young and didn't have to because you bought into it. This is one of the greatest deceptions of an old energy, that other human beings can define you and affect you. If you let them, they will. Dear ones, if somebody starts to tell you things you don't want to hear or demeans you, and if it's an inappropriate situation and you can't leave, you do not have to respond. You can tune them out. You can shine your life. I am magnificent. This is not me. What they're saying is their issue, coming right out of their mouth, targeted at me. Did you ever think of that? Everything they say to you is their issue, targeted at you, has nothing to do with you. Can you disengage to the point where somebody can yell names at you and you are not feeling a thing? And if you can, congratulations. That's free choice. By the way, you'll live longer. Humans can cause other humans to die sooner and have disease. That's just the way of it. Because in an old energy, you buy into it, you fret about it, you fear, you worry. Kryon, you don't understand. This is my boss. Then get another boss. That is what we're telling you. If it's happening at home, you're going to have to reframe your own resistance to changing it. Perhaps it's a habit that you can't break. Let me tell you something. That doesn't exist. In this new energy with the light, that doesn't exist. You can break any habit at this point in time. You have more power for this than any time. There's more light. There's more help. The wind is at your back. You can stand in front of a constant abusive person and not feel anything except being sorry they're having a bad day. Whatever they say, they're echoing who they are to you. And you don't have to buy into it. Many needed to hear this. Because that is where the crux, perhaps, of your discomfort right now is. That they will tell you you're nothing, or demean you. And for some unbelievable reason, in your magnificence, you believe it. That can change today. That is free choice. That's power, real power. The last one, number 5, is similar. Did you realize that when you center around groups of people and you start talking about other people or situations and you start complaining, it's a habit. Dear ones, I want you to reframe your conversation. If you cannot say something positive, don't say it. I want you to watch what happens. Number 1, your friends may stop being your friends. That's not an all bad thing. Find other friends who will speak more positive. But I want to tell you something, that everything you say and every situation you set up with your complaints is heard by your cellular structure. And in that, it's destructive. This is an energy, dear ones, that you are telling your body and the field and everything around you, almost like you're ordering an energy that's going to come and be delivered to you. We've said that before. But complaining perhaps is one of the chief issues that will come back on you over and over. It's a negative attitude that will sow seeds of negativity that will be in you. Did you know that? Complaining is a habit. You say, my whole society complains. Is that the reason why you should complain? It is not. It truly is not. It does not make you a better person to join in that which is complaining. I told you these truths would be personal, and today they are. It is not up to you to rewrite anyone else's program, but yours. I want you to think about that the next time you have an opportunity to complain about something that perhaps is complainable about. What can you do? You can think positive about yourself, about the situation, about that which others would complain about, and look at the other humans involved who may very well not know the habit that they are in as well. Can you see God in everything? Can you see God in other human beings? If you complain about situations, could you understand why situations might be there? Or there's no control. Can you see the upside or the light in any of these? This is not a silver lining on a cloud. Dear ones, this is a paradigm shift of thinking and speaking and consciousness. That's what it is. So what we're telling you is it's a habit to create conversations that literally will make you have a shorter life. It's a habit. If your cellular structure is at peace with itself and your consciousness is at peace with itself, this is the secret to youthing. It truly is. My partner says that many times he continues to wake up at 3 a.m. He used to do that. And there was a laundry list of things to worry about. And now he wakes up because it's a habit. And the first thing he thinks about is, what are we going to worry about? And then he realizes, nothing. And he's asleep in 10 minutes. It's a habit, dear ones, that many of you have to this day. So if you wake up at 3 a.m. and you start your laundry list of worries, I want you to stand up. If you have to get out of bed, and you say to anyone who will listen to you or not listen to you, not this time. Say it out loud, not anymore. Because I have peace in my life over even the things that seem to be worried-filled subjects. I have peace over all of them. Is this doable? Oh, yes. The more you do this, the easier it gets, until there's a time when you will wake up at 3 a.m. and realize there is nothing there that is too big for the love of God, or the synchronicity in your life, or for the old soul, and you'll be asleep again immediately. And that's the secret, and that's the solution. Understand your magnificence and your mastery, the can-do of what is in your body, the control you have of you in any situation, and knowing you are totally and completely loved, worthy, and you belong here. That's the message for tonight. There is some rewriting to do, isn't there? There are some things that have to be shifted and changed as taught to you so long ago. If you're a young parent listening to this, I will tell you that everything that I have just given you is for your children. They'll see it in you. Depends on how you teach them. So no message like this would ever have to be given to them, ever in their lives. Because after you are gone, they will remember mom and dad as being positive about the future and about what is possible with the human being. You can shape a life forever in your positiveness. And it's not just being positive. That's the reality of the light in the planet today. This message is given in love. for a changing human being, for one that is trying to drop the old paradigms and habits, and will do so. I've been here before, dear ones. I've been in societies going through this before, dear ones. I know what you're going through. I know where this is going. More than doable. It creates new human beings. You will surprise yourself in what you can do that you couldn't do before. Because today is different than yesterday.
It being a Mother's Day, I'll share the song with you, and it's a blessing, a contemporary blessing song, and it goes like this. Shir nasha, Allah Allah go nasha, Allah Allah go nasha. Shir nasha bige wajola eya heinaya, Allah Allah go nasha, Allah Allah go nasha. Shir nasha bige wajola eya heinaya. Shidachi wajo nasha, shidachi wajo nasha. Shir nasha bige wajola eya heinaya. Shinati wajo nasha, shinati wajo nasha. Shir nasha bige wajola eya heinaya. Nshnati wajo nasha, nshnati wajo nasha. Shir nasha bige wajola eya heinaya. Nshlaji wajo nasha, nshlaji wajo nasha. Shir nasha bige wajola eya heinaya. Shikiji wajo nasha, shikiji wajo nasha. Shir nasha bige wajola eya heinaya. Shiaji wajo nasha, shiaji wajo nasha. Shir nasha bige wajola eya heinaya. Altwaji wajo nasha, altwaji wajo nasha. Shir nasha bige wajola eya heinaya. Okay, now that's translated. It goes, there's beauty before me, there's beauty behind me, there's beauty below me, beauty above me, beauty on the right side of me, and beauty on the left side of me. I walk in beauty with, beauty all around me. And that's to all the moms. So happy Mother's Day. Yeah.
Thank you, Marita.
What a beautiful way to begin our channeling session this evening. Yesterday we were connecting with our animal guides and we ended up in the land of knowledge. And so I invite you to close your eyes and travel back to that moment where you are standing in the land of knowledge. And you are standing in the land of knowledge with your beautiful animal guide that has connected with you. And in this beautiful land that you travel, you begin walking. And as you walk, you realize you are starting to come into a valley. It is a beautiful valley that lies ahead of you. And as you travel further into that valley, you realize that you have come into the valley of wisdom. And as you move through the valley of wisdom, it becomes a little more narrow, almost like you are in a canyon. And as you wind your way around the corners of this canyon that's within the valley of wisdom, you come across a young child, a young child appears before you, and the child is crying, a little upset. And immediately you stop in front of this child who is upset and crying. And your very presence causes the young child to look up and connect into your eyes. And in your soothing, calm voice, you encourage this young, precious child to tell you, what is it that makes them so upset? And with your animal guide next to you, the two of you begin to comfort and soothe this precious young child. And this beautiful, precious young child that has decided to connect with you in this very special way begins to stop crying because of your comfort. And as you look at this beautiful, young, precious child who has now stopped crying, and you wipe away the tears, you pick this child up into your arms and you embrace this child, and you begin to now walk through the canyon in the Valley of Wisdom with the child in your arms. And there begins to be a radiating glow of comfort and peace that is coming from that child you carry in your arms. And as you slowly move through the Valley of Wisdom, you realize that through your experience of the river of learning and the land of knowledge and the Valley of Wisdom, you have all those things within you to give comfort, love, and compassion. This is your Valley of Wisdom. And in that next step that you are about to take beyond the Valley of Wisdom, you instantly merge with that precious child, because that precious child represented an aspect of you, your inner child. You are merging with your own inner child. You have comforted that experience within you. It could be from this incarnation, or it could be from a previous one. It doesn't matter. What matters now is that there is a beautiful relationship re-established with that precious inner child of yours. All because you decided you wanted to come and connect and move through the Valley of Wisdom.
So continue that journey through the valley, and the Valley of Wisdom, and from the valley we just journeyed through the day, the Valley of the Gods. And let those, the elements, the nature, the Gaia, the wind, the sand, the water, the sky, the earth, the plants, the animals, all these elements and elementals and all these beings of the earth, feel them stronger in you. Guiding you even more into your center, your love, your compassion, your being, and your being part of all that is. Of all that is here, between all of us as a group, and all of this land, and even beyond it. There is truly no separation between us and everything else that is around us. We are all made of the same elements of earth, and energetically we are all connected. So let us allow ourselves to feel that connection in every way, intuitively, that comes to you now even more. Opening your heart, opening your energy field, opening even more your consciousness, your super consciousness, your elevated awareness, all that you are through your intuition, extending yourself, allowing yourself, becoming and merging more with what we call our soul. Just as we were literally merging today with the elements of Gaia, that simply bathe us in every possible way to show us how connected we are to it, through the sand, through the water, through the sky, through the sun, and through this wind. This was a day of blessing, a way of reminding us who we really are, and our connection with Mother Earth on Mother's Day, reminded us our source of our love, a love that has no beginning, no end, in a land that knows no beginning and no end. And the keepers of the land live it through hundreds, if not thousands of years, and know that they will always be here, and they always were here. So let us connect even deeper, opening more, being more, loving ourselves even more, and transmitting that love that we share and connect with one another as the days go on this tour even more, transmitting, feeling the frequency, the energy, the deep connection, the divinity and light that is always present, always loving, always knows exactly what we need in every moment. And all we have to do is to go to that space of stillness, of love, and listen.
Greetings, dear ones. I am Kryon of Magnetic Service. This is the third session on this tour where I would channel to you, this group, about something I am saying is brand new in this energy, in what you would call your enablement, in metaphysics, in your spiritual journey. And we've told you before, the newness comes from the shift. This shift that you are going through is a conscious elevator if you choose to accept that. That's what it was designed for. A time when the consciousness of Earth starts to raise itself up. We also said again that this was also the prophecies of the ages linked to the precession of the equinoxes, and here you are. This is not something that comes from Kryon. This is something that was expected, that you have earned. It is your destiny, and it's why you're on the planet, old soul. I ask that angelicness, the properties of spirit that live with you, to let you hear this in a light that makes sense. This is not a meditation where we visualize going into that which is your soul. This is something that is done in other places and other times by my partner. This is teaching. What is the soul? This is what many have called the higher self, known by almost all of that which is humanity in other names and other words. Some speak of touching your own angels. Some speak of the higher self. But it all is a reflection of knowledge that there's something above you which is you. And some say it is untouchable, it is beyond you, on the other side of the veil. You see it when you leave to come here, you see it when you go away. But I am telling you, it is always with you. So I want to give you a couple of the attributes for you to understand before we can even start telling you what is truly there for you. First of all, let me review this. You don't get it when you're born. It watched the earth be shaped. Outside these windows, before any human walked on this planet, long before that, it watched the ocean that was here, which shaped the rocks as you walk in the seabed today. Your soul was there then. Your soul is always and has always been. And now it is tasked, your soul, with teaching you and accompanying you and being with you as a human being. And in this new age of energy, you can start communicating with it. I have told you before that you are linear and your soul is multidimensional. I have told you that multidimensionality is the way of things in many places, if you want to call it a place. And that you are linear, living in 4 dimensions. But that doesn't mean that the other dimensions aren't here. They all are here. You are only aware of a reality of 4. And there are many who still don't understand that. So I'm going to spend a moment describing what multidimensionality truly must be like. And all of it is beyond that which you are used to. Let me start with this. When you were a child, you learned that billions of people could give prayers to God at the same time and God could listen to them all. That God knew you, could listen to you apart from the others. This is an example of a multidimensional source. But it goes beyond that. What if you had 5 or 6 friends and they all came over for dinner? And you gave the signal and you all started talking to one another simultaneously. That wouldn't work. Not in a linear world. Even 2 is difficult. If they are giving you instructions and you're trying to hear them, even 2 is difficult. A linear human being must concentrate and focus on one thing at a time. Now you might say, well, I can multitask. That's tasking. I'm talking about communication. You might say, well, I regularly have 2 or 3 television sets on different channels during my day, and I listen to them all. No, you don't. You listen to one and the other are noise. And then you listen to the other ones and the other ones are noise. One at a time, that's your limit. That's the linear creature you are. In addition, you are used to certain kinds of things in your reality. If someone stands next to you and they speak to you, you listen to them and you hear them. If they stand farther away, they're harder to hear. If they go in another place, you can't hear them at all. This is that which is linear. It's your reality. In a multidimensionality, every time they speak, you hear them. You hear them very clearly, no matter where they are. There is no lessening of their volume with distance. Distance makes no difference in a multidimensionality. Here is one of the things that physicists know. They have discovered something which is astonishing them, and they're still trying to understand it. But they know this, that if you have an object on the Earth and an object on Mars, let's say, and they are entangled objects, they can communicate with one another. If you touch one, the other moves. There is no distance. There is no delay. That is multidimensionality. Now, I give you this so that you will give allowance for the things I'm going to tell you. You make another assumption. The more years you live, the earliest memories you have are harder to remember. Now that means that your distance in time is also part of your reality. Well, I can't remember that. It's too far long ago. Ask me something that happened yesterday and I'll do better. That is linear. What if I take you to a place? What if you go to a place? What if you could access a place where everything you have ever experienced anywhere is like a library of records where you could go and pull it off the shelf and read it word by word? What if it was a video instead? And you could go pull it off the shelf and play it as it happened yesterday. That would be multidimensionality. So I will give you the first thing that you can access when you go to that which is your soul energy. I'm not asking you to go there now, although some of you will, because this is so entrancing. It's so mysterious to some. It's so exciting to some. Your Akashic record is there. Everything that has ever happened. Now let's do this. Everything that's ever happened in your life is there. Since the day you were born, you can go to that library. You can recreate every single day. You can hear what you said and see what you did. What you were like, what you looked like. You could see your mom and dad. All of those who you've loved and lost at some level are in your soul. I'm going to tell you that in another lesson, but that video will have them right there. What if that video was holographic? What if it was the next layer of virtual video? What if it became a room and you were there and you saw yourself and you saw your parents perhaps and it was when you were taken home from the hospital if you were born in a hospital. That's how vivid it is. That's there. Time does not then diminish any of it. Now that's this life. Many of you understand that the system of your soul is many lifetimes on earth as a human being. This is a subject that does not simply belong to esoteric believers. This belongs to the first, what we would call, organized religion on the planet, or the one that called themselves something under a master. Hinduism. Hundreds of years ago, that was the basis. Almost half of this planet believes still in many lifetimes. It's intuitive. You start to remember. You start to understand. Things in past lifetimes are so present in this one, sometimes you carry them right in. It's the reason that musicians become musicians. Artists become artists, because some things go through that veil of incarnation, and you do them again and again. There are so many examples of this. So let's take a look at that library of records. Your past lives are there on this planet, all of them, in that same library, as vivid as anything that happened right now, a moment ago. Accessible to you when you go there with intent. Dear Spirit, I would like to go there and find something that I need right now. What is it you might need right now? Kryon, are you telling us we could go there and actually, like a miner, mine the Akash? You can go there and get something, like get the gold that you need of you. Everything you have done in a past life is available this life. Did you know that? That's the setup. Only now can you see how powerful it would be to go there on a regular basis and examine it. What is it you might want? Dear Spirit, I'm having difficulty with this and that. But I know in my past lives I didn't. I know that in there was me with no difficulty. Dear Spirit, let me go back into that record and grab that part of me that is me, but just the past me, and bring it to the current me. Can you do that? And the answer is yes. This is all part of this new teaching that I am giving now. Something that I have referred to now for decades is right in front of you. Is doable and possible with learning. Dear angels, in these places right now, give those that need it a glimpse that this is real. Don't make it complex. Don't make it frustrating. Remember what I told you. If any of these things appeal to you and you say, I would like that. Oh boy, would I like that. If any of these things appeal to you in that way, then tonight, just say to Spirit, Dear Spirit, I want to know more at the rate that I can absorb them. Give me the synchronicity of learning. Let me see how that might be possible for me. I don't expect it right away, but I want to know more. And that will start to happen because you have given intent for it to be. Spiritual things which are intended in this way are answered. Requests that are not in this way are often not. That's because Spirit wants the connection of you, your compassion to yourself, in kindness, but mainly the cognizing or belief that you have a higher angel of your own, ready and willing to help you in these things. That is your Akashic record. That is that record which will take you back all of your lifetimes. That is the value. That's the gold. That's the big one that we tell you is there. Oh, but if your soul is forever and your soul had no beginning and no end, do you think there is a possibility that you did this before on another planet? Wow, what an idea. The library for that is there as well. But it becomes a little more obfuscated, a little harder to get. And here's the reason. What you really need to know for your ascension today, for a status of enlightenment today, for living longer today, is wrapped up in you as a human being on this planet. Even if you had 1,000 lifetimes, this is where the learning is. And the love of Spirit knows that. And so it's harder to get to any other places and any other libraries, but they are all there. There's a door, perhaps even with a lock on it, saying, not yet. Study that which you need to know about yourself first, and all the other things will be added on. How do you feel personally about this? Is it too strange? It shouldn't be. Not for an awakening old soul, even if you don't know what is happening with you. Dear Spirit, I'm having trouble right now. Dear Spirit, I need to go into my soul. I need to pick up that which I don't even know where it is. I don't know how to do it. Please bring it to me now, because that's who I was. I earned it. I earned it for today. That is what's possible right now. I'm in Kryon in love with all of you, in humanity in general, that is beginning to awaken, but the old souls first, because they will be teaching the others, not in courses and not in books, but in how they act and what happens to them, and others will see it. And they'll ask eventually, how did you do that? That's where the teaching is. Just like it's happened in this land. That's how it happens with the ancients. They speak to each other, they sing to each other, they tell stories. And that is what you will do as well, in your own way, in this lifetime and all the others to come. And so it is.
Hi, everybody. Thanks for watching this. I wanted to tell you this is a little time sensitive.
Greetings, dear ones. I'm Kryon of Magnetic Service. My partner steps aside, but he's still connected. We have said it before, it is not a takeover. Channeling is not a takeover. Channeling is a meld with permission, an agreement with the consciousness of a human being with his own higher self. An agreement that is not hard to make as long as the box he is in of belief and tradition allows it. And if you have been taught that this is not appropriate, it's difficult to channel. It requires that training and practice where it becomes comfortable. For my partner, it's more than comfortable. For he has admitted to wanting to just stay here and not come back. It's a beautiful place where the human being can sit and be for the few moments where the information is delivered. He becomes a translator. He takes my information and linearizes it, and he puts it in his own language. It's a process. The filters that the human being have, which are then developed by the box of his tradition and upbringing, have to be cleared. And then the message will become succinct, as complete as possible, and delivered in a way that makes sense. And that is why I'm giving him 2 times on this one. Dear ones, as you listen to these things this night, they may not all make sense. And so that is why we give the option to listen to them later, perhaps even for them to be transcribed, so that there would be a time when you could sit with them and ponder them, so that you could link them to some of the other bits of information and understand how they are connected. Right now, my partner is connected corporally with me. And you hear his voice. It is difficult to explain how such a thing could be. Appropriate in all ways, we have told you before. And the ones who are hearing it now are the correct ones to hear it now. And so as I begin this lesson, I want to remind you why we're giving it. For we've never discussed these things in this way. It is time to lay the foundation, the groundwork of the future. And the best way to do it is to give an exposure of how things work inside you. And as we expose these things, we use language that you're not used to, concepts that you haven't really worked with before. And we're aware of that. But it has to start where it has to start. And in the room there are life paths at the moment who are using what we're going to discuss, and some who have no idea what we're going to talk about. That is a respect for the variety of consciousness here, for the steps of learning that you are on. For some of you have been doing this kind of work since you can remember. And others of you are just now awakening to the potentials of who you are. Regardless, we give the story and the teaching as though all of you were on board with all of it. And that is appropriate for the day. There are processes within the human body that are very difficult to explain. They are esoteric processes. We have given you just recently several of them, how they are recalibrating, and just lately, how they work. We started talking about the synchronicity and how it works with the human body, and Gaia, and the guides, and the other side of the veil. We've given you a lecture on the elusive Akash. How does it talk to the cells of your body? Is it in your brain? Is it not? What does it say? And you can hear these messages in the past. We've talked to you about the conceptual belief systems and how they are starting to work in your favor, and how consciousness is becoming less linear. All of these things would seem to be concepts that are high-minded, but some of you are using them right now. There is one in particular which we have saved till now, because it is difficult to explain, and there are revelations today about how it works that we have not said before or explained before. There is a full system that we have channeled to you in the past called the 9 attributes of the human being. These attributes interrelate in a circle, and I want my partner to teach them in the near future. I want him to develop it into at least 3 parts of training, so that people can put them together, see how they're related, and understand themselves better. The 9 attributes, as we have channeled, were 3 groups of 3. Not that difficult. The difficulty starts to see how they relate to each other, and what they are, and what they might mean to you. How they're connected today, but how they will be connected tomorrow. 9 of them. We told you that 3 of them, 1 in each group of 3, have the same name, the higher self. We told you that there was the human corporeal group, the soul group, and the support group, and that the higher self was in each one of those. But the one we want to talk about today is squarely in what we would call the human corporeal group. And yet, like so many of the others, there's more to it than it seems. And the name of it is innate. And so the word innate is going to be a part of the human consciousness that all of you have at the corporeal level, which we are going to discuss today in a way we've never discussed. Telling you only a little bit about it, but enough, hopefully, to tweak your interest and to make you understand that there's more to you than what you think. Innate. Innate has been described in the past as the smart part of your cells. The smart part. Now that might indicate that there's a non-smart part. But let us say it's a more ignorant part. And believe it or not, that ignorant part is your brain. Now the brain perceives many things, and it's a calculator to the max. It's the best memory instrument on the earth today. Everything that you've experienced is in there. It tempers how you behave, what you do, how you act, what you believe, what you think. But let me tell you where it falls short. It doesn't know anything about what's going on in your body. You can intellectualize for a very long time, and yet you will never find out from the brain how your cells are doing. Do you have an allergy to something you have not experienced yet? Perhaps. To a food that you have never tasted. To a chemical you have not seen. How would you know? The innate knows. The innate is the smart corporeal body. It knows everything about everything. It actually is as smart as your brain, but in a different way. So what you do to find out if you're allergic to something is to place that something in your hand and muscle test. And that is called kinesiology. A big word for something very simple. And in the muscle testing, you are using the body's chemistry to give you a yes or no signal about something it knows and you do not. Muscle testing. So in the process of that procedure, do you understand you have acknowledged that there's a part of your body system that knows more than your brain? Oh, it knows a lot more than what you're allergic to, my friend. It is so tuned in to your DNA. It is part of your process. It is part of your evolvement. It's more than even that. Innate. Innate handshakes with your higher self at all the three levels we discussed, and that is difficult for us to describe. But if you put it in a circle chart, you'd draw the lines between them and you'd see what I mean. It's your smart body. Does it find a place in illogic to think for a moment that you'd have some kind of a disease attacking your body and not know it? Don't you find it odd, human being, that there are certain kinds of diseases that can lurk in you and you only know it through your discomfort or through your death? And you would never have the signal from your brain except pain. But the innate knows it when it happens. The innate knows it when it entered your body. As the white blood cells go to the places they need to go to fight, and you have no idea, the innate is on alert. What is it and where is it? This is difficult. We told you, dear human being, that the elusive Akash information was not in your brain. You cannot go to your brain to find out who you used to be and when. Because the brain only receives that information as it needs it, as transmitted from your DNA. The innate is the same. It's not in your brain, but it's in every cell of your body, every piece of DNA. But the difference between innate and the Akash is the innate is on top. It is always broadcasting. It's always there. And if you know how to listen to it and where it is, you can tune in. Muscle testing is one way. There are others. Some of you know. Innate is that which responds to acupuncture. Did you know that? Your brain does not. Innate is aware of all things and is broadcasting all the time. It broadcasts so greatly that it flows right into that which you call the Merkaba of the body. Now we're talking about a field around your body that pulses very strongly with information that those who have the ability to see can read. Welcome to the medical intuitive, who can stand before you in various degrees of success and read your innate. They don't have to muscle test to know you've got something going on. They can see it in the field around your body. Now you think that a medical intuitive is looking at your liver or your heart and is doing some kind of analysis because that's what you understand. That's your box. You had no idea that they are sensing the quantum energy that your innate is broadcasting of your health, of what's going on in the chemistry, of what might be developing inside you. It's different than you thought, isn't it? That's the innate. And that's only one of the things that innate does. It's the smart cellular part of your body, but it's not just about that. What I'm going to tell you next, we have given you before, but I wish to explain it better. Your innate is also a governor of what you need. Now turn a page with me. We have talked in the past about mining the Akash. So let us open that door for a moment. Is it possible, dear one, that you could go into the vast storehouse of the attributes of your past lives and pick out something you need today? And the answer is yes. And the way it's done has to pass muster and permission of the innate. Because the innate smart body knows what you need. It is then the governor, the filter of what you can pull out of your Akash and use. And it will say no to frivolous things and say yes to the things that will allow you to cure yourself of disease, live longer, and increase the percentage of efficiency of your DNA. It doesn't care how you look like you do. It cares about your health. If you want to go into your Akash and pull out something that you need for survival, it's right there with you. If you want to make clearer skin, it isn't. If you see what I mean. It's the governor for mining the Akash. By the way, the Akash is supremely mineable. You have earned what you've lived, dear ones, and it's not in there that far. It's not deep. It all lays in a soup that is available all the time for you. If you have a disease in your body right now, dear one, And you want to mind the Akash in the way that you only would know how. Only your consciousness in practice and maturity can work on a problem that is yours only, to mine who you are and who you were, and to bring forward that which would cure it. The innate is responsible for spontaneous remission. For the innate can go in and pull out the things in the Akash and place them into your cellular structure. That's how smart it is. Did you ever sit in a meeting and something is said or a feeling can happen and you get chills? What are they? You would say they are chills of validation. Guess where they came from. The innate. The innate is signaling you truth, not your brain. Dear ones, your brain will get in the way. It's the brain that has the box of belief. It's the brain that has who you are based on experience and memory. It is the innate that knows the truth. One of the attributes of the future human being, and we have given you this before, is to build a bridge between your human consciousness and your innate. It is one of the three things in the cellular part of the 9 attributes, the human energies part, that a bridge can be built so that you don't have to muscle test, so that you can become your own medical intuitive about your own cellular structure. Doesn't that make sense? So when something invades your body that is not appropriate and proper, that your brain would never tell you and that your innate knows about, when the bridge is complete, your intuition will say, there's something different. And you may not know what it is, but you will go to somebody who can help you to know, and it'll be far earlier than waiting for your brain to give you pain, if you know what I mean. That's also innate. Innate does so many things for you. And some of you are starting to get another picture, and this is where I'm going. It's a concept we have not really broached before. We're going to call it something. Please do not misunderstand. You only have one word for this. The word is called brain. So we are going to give you another concept. The innate is your second brain. It doesn't function like your first one at all, but it is smart. And it is intelligent, and it knows what you need, and it's the governor to keep you from picking up the wrong thing. Just like your brain is, in a different kind of way. Let me show you what I mean. Here is a puzzle, a conundrum of medicine. When an accident happens and it severs your spinal cord and leaves you with no feeling or operations from the waist down, there's some interesting things that continue to function. One of them is your heart. Another is digestion. There are others also that function. The organs of the body, many of them, continue to work even though you are told that your brain, your central nervous system, is the one that sends the signals to make them work. And suddenly, the conduit where the signals are sent is broken. So what keeps them going? When you have a heart that depends upon signals from the brain on a regular basis, and the brain is disconnected and it's still going, how do you think that works? And now I'll tell you, because the innate takes over. It's always there. And the organs will function. Even reproduction happens. The heart keeps going. Digestion. It's a second heart. It's a second liver, you might say. Innate is a second brain. And these are the things that sometimes medicine has puzzled over, and I just gave you the answer. There is another intelligence in your body that is smarter about cellular things than your brain is. So now I want to wrap this all up. What are you supposed to do with this information? I want you to get in touch with innate. It's the heart connection, dear ones. The higher self and the innate and human consciousness are the three human energies that need to meld. Human consciousness, higher self, and innate. When DNA starts to work at a higher efficiency, there are bridges that start to be built between these things. You'll start to feel them when you recognize and sense truth. When you start to recognize discernment and cognize it for what it is. When you stop looking around you for answers, and they come from within. When you put down the nonsense of those who would tell you that you were born dirty, or that there are societies trying to control you, or that everywhere you look there's a conspiracy against you, and you start understanding the truth that you are a piece of God on this planet, and you're smarter than that. Because you can discern what is and what is not happening. The human being becomes smarter when the two brains come together. And you're able then to see your own health situation, to catch things before they get out of hand, to know what you need, to know how you need to eat based upon your Akash, who you used to be, and what satisfies the cellular structure the best. Every single one of you has a different diet based upon what works for you. There is no such thing as an enlightened diet, except for you. We've told you these things before, but we never told you where it came from. The innate is smart. Now, as these things start to build a bridge between them, everything starts to change in the questions that you ask in this room, and they're always the same. How can I? Your name goes here. Every single one of you. Well, I like this, but how can I? Fill in the blank. I want to go here. I want to know this. How can I? Fill in the blank. And the day is coming when you never have to ask. Any more than today when you would ask, how do I get from A to B? You don't stop somebody on the street and ask them how to walk. You don't ask somebody how to get in your car or where it's going. That is you with you, and you got it figured out. But when it comes to esoteric things, you don't. And you feel you're in the dark. And there's missing pieces. When these things start to meld, the missing pieces will start to fill in, and you're going to be a lot smarter about you. And one of the things that's going to occur is you'll know you're not from here. You're from the great central sun. You're where I am from. You'll know that you're eternal. You'll know that you've had more than only one life. And it'll be something that you know, just like innate knows it. And not something you're trying to intellectualize with the computer in your head. It's the heart connection to the max. Innate is what creates emotion. Let me tell you, dear ones, innate helps you fall in love. It gives you energies that you can't explain that make you just a little nuts. And nobody can explain that. And innate knows all about it. It changes every cell of your body. It's able to ring true. There's nothing like it. Can you see how innate will serve you? And how it shakes hands with the higher self and knows about God in you. And this has been our story for this day about something in you you may have not known the extent of it, what it is, how it works, how important it is. And it's you with you. It's not an entity inside you, dear ones. It's you, the smart part of yourselves. And so it is.
Hi, everybody. Thanks for watching this. I wanted to tell you this is a little time sensitive.
Welcome for our last day of teachings as you create for yourself once more a beautiful, loving, and joyful foundation for yourself, an energetic foundation. Taking a slow, gentle, nourishing breath, moving through your entire body, energetically and physically. Take another breath. And let yourself expand even more through your field, through your Merkaba, through all that you are, that you cannot perceive with your mind, but you can feel deeply, expansively through your heart, the center of your being, of the essence of who you really are. In today's teachings of the final group, the God layers. You are the God layers. So allow yourself to feel and acknowledge yourself as the powerful soul that you are, of the love, of the compassion and divine energies that make you who you really are. Take another deep breath. And expand even more, elevating your emotion, expanding your consciousness, your super consciousness, perceiving and receiving more light, more energy, yes, more information, even more patterns and understandings and ways of seeing things beyond the physical senses. Opening yourself up to so much more that you can be. breathe, and feel and know how loved you are from within yourself and from the entire galaxy, the entire universe. The love that has no beginning and no end. Right now, in unity with you, that is always within you. But right now, you are making yourself more aware of it, more accessible to it, reflecting with it your true essence of God. And from that space, open your heart, your consciousness, your love to the wisdom, to the energy and teachings of Kryon.
Greetings, dear ones. I'm Kryon of Magnetic Service. This channel is the first channel of Class 4 regarding the 12 layers of DNA, full revelations and explanations. There are many who hear this particular message who indeed may not have taken a class, but indeed also you can glean information by the emotions, the attributes of the perceptions, your intelligence, and also that is your intuition of what's going to be covered. What I mean by all those words is this: there is a great deal transmitted to you in these messages beyond the words. You can glean that which is there to feel and to sense, even as I speak about the last class. The 12 layers of DNA is a study of the mastery within every single human being. I gave it slowly to my partner to work on over 3 years. This particular book took longer than any other book that he has written with my channeling. And the reason is this: that the 12 layers of DNA is a study. It comes together in a complex way that's never finished. You might say it's DNA Book 1, because there are so many esoteric and scientific discoveries yet to come regarding the magic of this double helix. The study I gave is almost completely esoteric in that we have separated into 4 groupings your DNA double helix, and the groupings we have separated almost completely esoteric. Nothing you would see in the microscope is what we speak of, except perhaps attributes of the very first grouping, the tree of life. And the rest is a statement, perhaps a full metaphoric statement of what's inside you. In the book, we explain carefully what it means. We give explanations, perhaps, of what it means. We even give sometimes a little history to highlight what we're trying to give you. But if you had to wrap it up in 1 or 2 sentences, this particular book is about how big the human being is in the scope of the universe, not in the scope of Earth. In the scope of the universe, for every single one of you has a divine soul. And when you are not here in corporeal form, that soul is part of the creative source that you call God. It has never had an end or a beginning. It always was, just like God. So as you study the layers, class, I hope you understand and realize that although you be writing down the minutiae and perhaps you'll be studying how they go together because it's complex, there's so much more. Perhaps there come a time when you simply put down your notes, students, and put your hand on your heart and say, wow, thank you, Spirit, for pulling this into me and helping me to understand that while I'm here on this planet, every single expression I'm here on this planet, I'm also on the other side. Thank you for helping me understand that my guides and my angels are more than just on the other side. They're related to me and they know me. I am them. I am that I am. Such a circle it is. Difficult for some of you to grasp. It is. And yet it's beautiful and magnificent information. This class today studies the last grouping. The last 3 layers, 10, 11, 12. Simply stated, simply named, the God layers. We use the word God because that's the word you have developed. It's not the word we would ever use. This creative energy, this creative source, this love that permeates every cell and every molecule of the universe with its creative benevolence, that's God. Some have used the word spirit. That's closer. The God layers do not refer to a judging Father in the sky. They refer to the Creator. These layers, these last 3 layers, will be explained in a way that perhaps haven't even been explained in the book yet. And that is why so many of you are ready to take this class. I encourage all of the students here to review, because there's things perhaps that you have missed. Because it goes quickly and because there are words and they're linear, your brain sometimes misses that which comes with the words. And many times that which comes with the words are thought groups that occur in your mind that actually will help you understand and explain the linear words that went by so quickly from the teachers today, yesterday, the day before, and the day before. That is the reason these particular classes are available to all of you to repeat and repeat and repeat, to think about, perhaps even hold study groups about, to discuss with others, so that you would sit in a way perhaps of revelation and thanks and gratitude of what is being revealed about yourselves. This is class 4. Let the class begin. Welcome back, everyone, from the break, and welcome back for the last time for any of the breaks on these particular classes, because this was the last class. Thank you again for being with us.
Yes, we so appreciate you, and we've really, really enjoyed this process together. So as we prepare for the final channel on the DNA Layers series, I would like to again give affirmations directly speaking to our DNA layers that we have studied for this day, but also recognize that as we do so, we are addressing the entirety of the layers, because they do not exist in a singular state. They are all joined together. So I would like to invite you to close your eyes, and you may even wish to place a hand on your heart. Dear Layer 10, Divine Belief, The divine creator is within my DNA and wants to be found. I give permission to move beyond my layers of belief and claim my magnificence. I am surrounded by benevolent energies, and I allow myself to receive countless blessings. Dear Layer 11, wise, divine, feminine. Dear Pleiadian star mothers who created the spark of divinity within me, I call upon your wisdom, grace, beauty and compassion, and I allow this energy to flow through me now and forever. Dear Layer 12, God Almighty, I accept the perfect love of the Creator. I am dearly loved. I accept the perfect love of the Creator. I am dearly loved. I accept the perfect love of the Creator. I am dearly loved. And from this posture of energetic support and love, we welcome the messages from Kryon.
Greetings, dear ones. I'm Kryon of Magnetic Service. We continue the channel that you just heard. Dear ones, this is the final and ending channel for Class 4 of the 12 Layers of DNA explanation. Again, we do understand that many have not taken that class who are hearing this now. But the information is the information. And what I mean by that, it is germane for all. It is good to hear, even if you were not part of the discussion. But we are going to assume that you were, as we again talk about some of the magnificent things that were revealed in the 4 classes. It's an esoteric study. Now, what this means, truly, for many, is that it's a study that is beyond the reality that most on this planet understand or even agree with. There are some who will say, if it isn't something I can touch and see and feel, I'm not interested. You may have invited some to hear this channel or to watch the class before it. And although they might be kind to you, they're rolling their eyes actually and going, not for me, not for me. These are silly things. Couldn't be true. And that is the way the human decides for themselves, with free choice, what they are going to accept and what they are not going to accept. And it's so interesting to all of us on the other side of the veil who have our hand out in a metaphysical way, in a metaphoric way, in a multidimensional way. We have our hand out with free choice, saying there are layers of energy within you. Call them DNA or not, but they are multidimensional layers in you that represent your soul. And a soul energy that knows about angels and guides. A soul energy that has its hand out to you that says, if you take it, all manner of things can begin to happen. The first thing that happens is a training in cognizing a new reality. Many of these layers, if not all of them, to some degree, are activatable, if you wish to use the word, through intent. The human being, by default, simply walks around the planet, sees what it sees,
But the human being who comes and goes and comes and goes for a very long period of lifetime starts to understand there are plans and processes that are outside of reality. And then they start their search for divinity. This often will take them into that place where we'll call organized religion. It's a place that they can feel comfortable with, and a place where they find God, and it's esoteric, dear ones. How is it that you can reject some esoteric things and accept others, and they're both spiritual? One is something that you get from your parents or perhaps from those around you, and it's fine to think about an all-knowing God and angels and all of these things, and that's fine, and it's accepted. But if you move out of that particular scene into another one, where there are no buildings or doctrines, but it's all about love, but it's even bigger, then you start rolling your eyes. It doesn't stop there. Humans are so interesting. You are on the cusp of scientific discovery, which will bring you things that are outside of any reality that you live in. And you will read about them. And you will say, this is great because there's evidence now, there's science there, and this is wonderful. And some of them are exactly what we just told you in these classes. It's so interesting. How about I start to explain to you some of the multidimensional aspects of the attributes of entanglement? And I tell you, there are dimensionality attributes that allow you to be in 2 or 3 places at the same time, depending upon the energy you're entangled with. Because when you get out of the reality that you live in and expect, and if I could take you and plop you into a multidimensional reality where you could be on Mars and Earth at the same time with the same energy, would that be okay? Well, it's all right with the scientists because they're discovering what this truly is. In the classes we've just given you, in the 31 years of channeling that I have given you, I have told you that you are entangled with your soul. That which is on the other side of the veil is that which is also on this side of the veil. God, Spirit, whatever you wish to say. The love and mastery and compassion that is the Creator is in both sides of the veil. One of it lives inside you, waiting for you to see the other, waiting for you to acknowledge that such a thing could exist. Imagine being entangled with 2 places. One is a multidimensional place and one is a linear place. I just gave you the same science that they're discovering, that they have called entanglement. And why do you then deny one and accept another, when truly the attributes are the same? And again, you would say, because one of them lays in my reality of discovery and one does not. This is the bridge, dear one, that we ever have asked you to cross. We've always asked you to cross. With free choice. With free choice. It's the bridge of belief. Is it possible that in you all dimensionality exists? That which is being discovered by science, already there. The attributes being discovered by science, already there. And they drive that which is spiritual in you. They drive it, and meaning that is a way for you now to say, it's okay. It's okay if I start looking at the what-ifs or the possibilities. Because now that you're starting to see science around it, that is okay. But, dear ones, the whole idea drives that which is
the Creator inside you. When I say drives it, there's no plan for you without acknowledging this lives in you. There's no plan. Do you understand and realize we know your name? There's purpose here for your very existence. But if you walk around in life and never even ask, or think you have the answers and go here or there, if you really never see the light that is there, the truth of the entanglement with your soul, it's almost like you're driving a car with no steering wheel. You're in a boat without a rudder, just hoping that it makes it and goes from one place to another. We've given you that so many times. But as soon as you acknowledge there may be more, that there is a reason for you here, that there might be a plan from Spirit, and the plan has to do with humanity and the shift and discovery and healing and all of these things that are just waiting for you. What if that was true? What have you got to lose? To come to a place where you'll say, I'll look. At least I'll look. I will look with intent, you might even say. I'll give you that. That is how this happened to my partner. For he denied God in the way that he's presenting it today. He thought all of those who were esoteric were fooling themselves, that none of this could be true. And he used that which is the brain of the engineer to say so. If I can't see it, if I can't prove it, I don't want it. And then I gave him a conundrum. I gave him the ability to see love and compassion like he never had before. And he couldn't prove it. And he couldn't explain it. That started his long journey into cognizing me. From the other side of the veil, I represent a group energy, always have, that is within his soul and yours. It's part of the Creator energy. I've told you that for many years. It comes to you in love, but I am compliant with free choice. And what I mean by that is I give you information, I pour love to you. I tell you how it works, I tell you about the shift, I tell you about the DNA, I tell you what's coming. I congratulate you for your interest. And then I pull away. And I wait for you then to take the hand that has always been outstretched of a greater truth, a grander time for you, a longer life. Healing, peace, lack of anxiety, all waits for you across the bridge of belief into that which is already there, a multidimensional soul which knows everything about God. I will say it again. The things I give you are as real as anything you can touch today. If science is ready to go into themes such as entanglement and more, and that is what we have taught from the beginning, can't you connect the dots enough to even say, perhaps, there's more? Perhaps you will then sit in a chair, like my partner did so long ago, and say the words, Dear Spirit, if you're there, show me. That's enough, if you mean it, to start a process. The process will begin to unite you in a way you were born for. You're here to find yourself. You're here to grasp the process and to change this planet. You want to know why you're here? Your purpose in life is not to be a victim of the planet, dear ones. It's to take that hand and discover something that's always been there. What have you got to lose? The study of the DNA is the beginning of the study of all things human, of all things divine, of the collaboration with Earth, with the confluence of energies of the Creator and you. Perhaps you want to take a look, another look even. I think you will find things in there that start to resonate. And the resonating is with that part of your soul which may even be jumping up and down right now saying, please look, please look, please look, please look. That's why you're here. For what you do next starts to change the role of the human race on the planet, in your solar system, in this galaxy. And there are so many who have come before you in other planets in this galaxy who are doing the same thing right now as I am. Take a look, take a look. For they know, and they have seen, that there's a plan with the Creator bigger than you ever thought. Beautiful, loving, non-judgmental, part of something even greater than I can tell you about. I'm crying in love with humanity. And so it is.
Hi, everybody. Thanks for watching this. I wanted to tell you this is a little time sensitive. Greetings, dear ones. I'm Kryon of Magnetic Service. This is a time, dear ones, for you to be in a state which you would call meditation. It's a time where you dedicate your consciousness to altering the normal state that you would have to receive information, to be quiet, to breathe in a different way, to be relaxed, and let information flow. And the information that may flow today may surprise you. For those who have come upon this channeling and don't know what it is, this is one of 5. And it corresponds to that which is a study of what I have described as the Lemurian teaching wheel. Far more information will be given about the specifics and the academia of the teaching of the Pleiadians to those on an island which we call them Lemurian. In an early time where the slate was completely clean of concepts of God, of spirituality, of beauty, of consciousness, and they could be written on those clean slates of the children. And it begins. And the question would be, what is it that those from the stars who have been through everything for more than 1 million more years than you've been here, what is it that they would tell you? And as you get in to the items one by one that I've given you, specifically wording that they have taught one by one, I want you to put yourself in the place of those who decided that would be taught. You don't talk about it much, and we don't speak of it that much, but way before one planet came to seed another in the beauty and the appropriateness of God's plan, they had to develop what is it they can teach. What is it that they can teach a mind that is not near as developed as theirs? And how can they teach it the best way? And what is it that they would want to emphasize and yet keep the free choice that you were given? And before they could ever teach, there had to be many, many generations of humans so that they would all have the alteration of chromosome 2, the fusing of 24 into 23, so that they would all be the same. Before the teaching could ever begin, chromosome 2 was the one that would absorb it. You see, the Pleiadians are going to want to talk about what's the favorite subject of theirs. A beautiful, majestic, loving, creative source at the center of everything. And that's where they started, dear ones. They didn't teach the children about any of the academia, about any of the spokes or the sizes. They went to the wheel and pointed to the center. And they said, let's talk about what's there. And the center, which we are labeling the hub, is the most beautiful thing that exists. It's a concept that you have. But like children, you have a concept. You don't know. You don't know. Not really. What could possibly be God? Spirit. If you ask those on the planet, what is God? Where is God? How does it work? You'll get as many answers as you have humans you ask. Right now, in the infancy of your consciousness about God and the planet, all you have done is to agree that there must be one. That's all you've done. And that is fairly recent. For many of your civilizations had come to this conclusion before, but always reverted to many. If there are many kinds of civilizations, then there has to be many gods. Over 80% of this planet believes in one God. You are ripe and ready then for the discussion and the consciousness and the realization of what that might mean. And the Pleiadians knew very much that this would be the evolution that you would take because it was theirs as well. So they had to teach something that was pre-evolutionary, if you think about it, to children knowing they would grow up and make mistakes like you have. And yet what they taught you, they also know would stick in your Akash so that it was ready. And if you had the opportunity and the earth evolved like they had thought it would or might, if you had the opportunity, the Akash would eventually awaken to a greater truth. So rather than an earth that sits around and argues about that one God and says to the other civilization, and if you don't worship it this way, we're going to kill you. A little bit of a dichotomy, I would say. You don't have it yet. You don't understand it yet. And then the other parts of the civilization make the one God so human it's dysfunctional. But it's still one God. You see, the evolution of the consciousness of what it actually is a mystery to you. But slowly, dear ones, civilization after civilization and culture after culture on this planet will start understanding and realizing a consciousness of oneness. In other words, if there is one God, there has to be a oneness of all things because God created all things. Eventually it will occur to humanity that there is no separation, and that to separate God into parts of belief is actually childlike. Then they will start to understand and realize that the many religions in the planet can still exist as long as they are compassionate with one another, understanding of one another, and can look at one and say, well, we have our way and you have yours. Isn't it beautiful that we can both love God? And you can stand and hold hands in different outfits, in different ways, and different symbols, and different beliefs, and even different prophets. And you can say they all emanated from one place. Isn't it grand? Perhaps there'll be one song to sing eventually where you hold hands in many religions with many outfits and many symbols can all hold hands and sing one song together that is so powerful that you weep with the beauty of understanding we came from somewhere else. And in the DNA, more and more you discovered that compassion and the teaching and the original information from the source is there. Some will never need the teaching wheel because out will come an intuitive energy right from your Akash, right from that which was implanted in you for this time. Wisdom implanted in you that you haven't seen yet. It's going to happen all over the planet. It already is. There is already a preparation for the idea and the concept that maybe, just maybe, you will meet extraterrestrials who are gentle and benign and smarter and wiser than you. That is just a seed of a beginning idea you simply haven't had before. Because you've made them all dysfunctional like you. Every ET that's supposed to have come to this planet is out to get you. And that, dear ones, as we've said before, is human nature. You see, that's the story of you. These are the things that are starting to change. There is benevolence coming. And the benevolence is human to human. It's an honoring of human to human. And we have told you before that as you look backward and as your grandchildren look into the past and they start to learn about history, they're going to turn to you and say, "You're kidding. You did that?" Everything before 2012, you might even label the barbaric years because of what is starting to happen. And we've told you yet again that these changes cannot happen overnight because humans don't like change. And the kind of changes that are consciousness and benevolence and peaceful and gentle that are starting to come means that some of the ones that aren't that way have got to break down. If you've noticed, they are. Imagine a beautiful kind of government that you put together and you're so proud of, and then you come and you find out, well, what is the attribute of that government? Well, we argue. That's the best you got? Yes. And what do you accomplish? Almost nothing. And why is that? Because we argue. And you say, well, maybe there's something better. And we've talked about that as well. New ideas of making things work in a way that no one has seen fit to even think about are coming your way. How you live will also create what you discover. And the inventions that are coming, we've told you, will change your life in ways you need to have it changed soon. And all of that is not just consciousness. Many of those things come from the climate changes we've told you are coming. All of these things to refresh the life in the ocean. This planet is revitalizing itself. And dear ones, you are at the forefront of that. And there are those who are listening and say, this is a crazy guy talking. He thinks things are getting better. And we say to you yet again, examine the filter where you look at yourselves and others. And examine why it is that all the time, anything you look at, the glass is always half empty. And you'll find that everywhere because that's the human nature that used to be. That's who you used to be. And the past that was is always what you carry as history and throw upon the future and say, well, as it was before, yet it will be again, and here we go. And it's not going to get any better. And that's what you're facing, dear human. You are facing right now an idea, a paradigm that you're going to have to break that says that we know what's going to happen because we know the past. Well, this weekend is a study of a past you don't know. And that past is filled with what the Pleiadians decided to teach you first, and what to concentrate on first, the hub. that says you are dearly loved, you are born magnificent, get with it. And everything that isn't that is wrong. That perhaps you ought to look at things again from a different standpoint and sit for a moment and be quiet and breathe and say to Spirit, is this true? Am I really loved that much? And then feel the chills that say, it took you long enough to ask. And then there will be those who start to receive the information that is in their Akash right from the stars.